Welcome in. I am the Crypto Bull God. And this is all in the charts. If you appreciate the content, which I know that every single person listening and watching does, make sure to hit the thumbs up button, drop me a comment, and click the bell icon for notifications so that your spider senses go off to know when I go live each and every single weekday. On this daily TA live stream. I sound like a radio ad when I say that in my published videos, right? Guys, did you see, by the way, just published a recent video. If you haven't had an opportunity to take a look at Caspa, it's got a decent amount of views on it, so I would imagine most of you have seen it, but it's out there just to make you aware. DJ Neutronic, welcome in. This is now my escape from the new baby. I come to my office and hang out on YouTube for a few hours. Man, if I was, honestly, I don't have children as I've shared, but I think if I were in your shoes and I wanted to kind of just escape things for a little bit, just try to have a little bit of time to myself, honestly, I'd be doing the same thing. So I would definitely, are you more introverted or extroverted? Do you know if you're an introvert or extrovert? Have you taken the Myers-Briggs assessment? Someone sent me the Myers-Briggs to retest because I shared with this person how I scored, and they encouraged me to do it a second time. I guess if you take it a second time, it's a good idea and maybe a more accurate predictor of who you are. So I tested the reason I ask is because we all need, especially introverts, need sort of the recharging down period, right? Now having a kid is a lot different. It just made me think of that, but I tested as a ENFJ, but the thing is, I'm definitely not an extrovert. When I've tested for things, I'm more of an ambivert, mixture between an introvert and extrovert. And if I recollect correctly, I took this test back in late 2019, literally right before all the hell broke loose with the pandemic. I was right on the borderline between an introvert and an extrovert. So, but I know I'm a little bit more introverted because I can do social settings. I can pretty much be in any crowd. I can talk to anyone. I feel comfortable talking to anyone. I'm not shy about going up and talking to people. But I definitely need to recharge at the end of the evening. I'm also one that I'm not a fan of being in like super big crowds. Like I can remember the last time I was out at Fort Lauderdale with my buddy, which by the way, in the off chance that you are watching this video, you said you would get back to me today about Saturday. So you better let me know. The last time I was really out in like a crowded setting was actually when I had gone out with him and his wife and sister-in-law who traveled in, and we went out to Fort Lauderdale. We hit up a few places there, and it was just like the last place we went to in particular was like so fucking crowded. And I was like, all right, well, this is late for me anyway, so I'm gonna head out and go home. So I'm not really into jam-packed bars or dance clubs where you're just, you're elbow to elbow with everyone. Like, I don't want any part of that. I'm not one that has ever gone to clubs, like, looking to pick up women. Why would I even want to be in a scene like that? Do I like going out in social settings? Of course I like going out in social settings, but, like, stuff where it's jam-packed and you're, like, elbow deep, I'm like, where's the fun in this? It's not my thing. So you're, like, screaming. You're like, I just wanted to say, you look great this evening. Where you're yelling to like get your point across. Yeah. Thank you, DJ. The market feels like it wants to go up for mysterious forces. We're going to get into that and talk about market sentiment. Appreciate the insights, DJ. Believe me, I've been doing a little bit of side research determining. It's a balance. Let's just have a transparent conversation for everyone who's listening, either live or in syndication here. it's a balance as a content creator. So what I've been trying to spend a little bit more time on is understanding what is called the YouTube algorithm. And the challenge is, ultimately, I've said this to you before, ultimately, I'm always going to take full accountability for how big or small my audience is, because it's on me to create content that viewers, quite honestly, want to come to and listen and watch, right? So the onus is on me. It's not YouTube's. Like, I've heard people blame YouTube and say it's YouTube's fault for. That's not how I look at it. There are plenty of other content creators that are very successful in this space, right? And other spaces and niches as well, right? So clearly they're doing something correct. Their content makes people wanting to come back and come back and come back, right? So at the end of the day, I feel like if I'm putting a product out there that is value added, you feel like you're learning something from it, it's engaging, you value me as a content creator, you feel that I'm authentic and I mean what I say, you're going to come back, right? But it's, to your point, it's a balance between, obviously I want to put content out that is going to get views, right? Any content creator isn't going to pour time into a YouTube channel if they're not putting content out that isn't getting views. But the balance is, I want to make sure that I'm always doing that in an authentic way, with integrity, and in a way that I really still feel like I'm bringing value to the community, right? Because one thing that I really want to be cognizant of is that I'm not churning content out just to churn content out, and also that I'm not churning content out to get clicks, meaning I'm not putting hypey things out there. So when you click on a thumbnail and it says an explosion is imminent, or it says Caspa $1, $3, whatever the case is, there is actually technical analysis and any form of analysis that supports that. There's a substance to the video that supports that thumbnail. I always want to make sure I'm doing that. It really makes me vomit when I see some of the stuff that's out there, and you want to know why the crypto community, or I've used XRP as an example. You want to know why a lot of people don't take certain communities seriously if we just focus on crypto. I mean, some of the thumbnails out there are very cringe, very, very, very cringe. That I can't do. And the content is extremely hypey. It's also important as a content creator to also understand who your competition is, right? To understand who else is putting out content. There's a couple reasons. One, you can sometimes generate ideas that way. You appreciate the way someone does something. Maybe you can take something away from that. Two, you need to just in general understand who you're competing from. And I will say, there are some really good content creators out there. There's some really good content creators out there. And then, and there are other content creators where part of me just wonders how they get the views they're getting, because there's no real, for me, there's no value added substance in their videos. I don't understand how they get their followers, but I would chalk a lot of that up to smart marketing, if you will, on their part, to market things in a way that even if someone who's, and I don't mean this as a knock against anyone, but people who are perhaps less educated, let's just call a spade, people who are less educated gravitate towards that material even if it really doesn't add value, right? So coming at it from my perspective as a really educated person on technical analysis and just being logical and level-headed, I don't see a ton of value in that content, and there isn't really a substance, but I can see that there are some content creators out there that have figured out how to properly market their content in a way that garners views, right? So it's a balance. It's a balance to put content out there that's going to be engaging for everyone, but I can't lose my integrity over something like this. I would never be willing to do that. That's something I'm not willing to jeopardize, and that is a true statement in my life as well. I'm very big on living your life in a very not authentic way, but what's the word? Living your way in a way where integrity is at the heart of everything that you do, your words, your actions, right? So I don't want to betray that. But GJ, you are flooding my comments because you got some downtime here. Let me get to your comments real quick. Feel free, anybody else who's in the live stream, feel free to pop in the comments and introduce yourself. You know, someone said something yesterday that made me think to quick share this. I can't tell who's on the live stream, just to let you know. So unless you pop a comment in there, I have no clue who's listening or watching right now. So the YouTube does not tell me that. So if I look at viewers, yeah, I can't click on this to actually see who my viewers are. I can't tell. But feel free to introduce yourself. Let me know if you're new to the live stream or if you are returning, if DT is in the house. I know some of my regulars, if you guys are here. I did tweet out several items that I wanted to cover today. We're going to take a look at the dollar index. We're going to take a look at the Pi cycle on Bitcoin. We're going to, specifically, I want to have a little quick commentary surrounding the Holy Crypto Trinity, Harmony One, HBAR, and Decentraland Mana. Discuss a little bit about market sentiment, tie that back to the DXY, and then I'm also going to be taking your DT is in the house. Some of my regulars. I appreciate everyone, but I really appreciate the regulars who have been here for a while, because it's a commitment to be subscribed to a channel for a long time and always catch the live streams, you know. The only YouTube live stream that I regularly catch is Cryptos R Us. Like I've said before, I think George does a nice job of covering news events. He really hits on the key things just to bring me up to speed on some things. It doesn't mean I always agree with his opinions. I mean, you're never going to tune into a channel where you completely agree with their opinions, but I think he does a nice job of covering the main news articles. He also seems very level-headed. The only thing that annoys me about his channel I've shared with you guys is when he starts to comment on technical analysis. He clearly is not anyone who should be reading charts, so I just think he should stay away from commenting on technical analysis. But outside of that, I think he does a good job covering the charts. Kyle, you're very funny. You're very, very funny. I'm not giving that comment any attention whatsoever. DJ, so I did miss that. So you came here specifically because I made a Harmony One video. Interesting. Yeah, some of the altcoin videos that I've created, I've noticed some people have gravitated towards the channel if I've done an XRP or Harmony One or Digibyte or XDC. So it's good to see. If I had a son or daughter, I wouldn't push anything. I would like to think I would never push anything on my son or daughter. I'd want them to sort of find their way, try to help steer them in the correct direction, what I think is the correct direction, hopefully with a spouse. Hopefully we both would. Yeah, it'd be awesome if I had a son or daughter and they were working out with me. That's like a dream. It's like a dream going on with. Yeah, as a guy, it's just natural. I would be just as proud with my daughter. Don't get me wrong, but it's very natural as a guy. You'd want to go into the gym with your son. You know, you both go in with your little tote bags. You know, you throw on you open up the chalk. You're chalking up. You know, you got the stopwatch on, timing in between the sets. I'm spotting him. He's spotting me. Of course, by that point, he'd be lifting a hell of a lot more than me. But that'd be pretty sweet. BTC is the latest stablecoin. Nice. Having home gym equipment is clutch. Do I use StreamYard or something to broadcast to multiple platforms? Well, clearly I need to look into that. The answer is no, but I'm always open into evolving things and getting with the times to make sure that I'm current and so that I'm really maximizing my opportunity to reach as many people as I can. I'm just live streaming on YouTube. That's all I use. I've never used Rumble. I'm not using any podcasting platforms. It's just YouTube at the moment. And some of it is a byproduct of what I don't know exists out there, and some of it's also a byproduct of what I feel like I have time for, right? Even just to put in the time that I do to live stream every day on weekdays and then to get on top of it TA videos out, it's a lot on top of a full-time job. Especially work is picking up. I've been multitasking a lot of different stuff, and I am in a more senior role. I'm not in a data entry twiddle my thumbs roll. So I've been in the career field for a while. So I do have a decent amount of responsibilities. So it's not like I have oodles of free time to do crypto. Can't imagine what it would be like juggling this channel if I had like 3 kids or something like that. That'd be challenging. All right, let's get into the DXY first. That's where I want to start things off. So, as you know, the inverse relationship, we've covered it many times. And what I'm noticing on the DXY right now is that if we look at the weekly candlesticks here, this is something I had pointed out before. I mean, we have 2, 4, 6, 8. Who do we appreciate? No, 2, 4, 6, 8, 11 straight green weekly candles, right? That's the first observation. The second observation that I'd like to share with you guys is that we've had this huge parabola, right? And we've cooled off, but we really haven't had a significant decline since we ran that parabola. We had about a 14% downside, 14 to 15% downside since we topped. And historically, once we've had a parabola, we've had a sharper sell-off in the DXY. And the other thing that I want to point out here is that we're literally right in the zone that I've spoken to. I spoke to the zone that once we did, when we were faced with this sell-off, this was actually, I believe, back in this time period in April, March, April. When we were facing this sell-off, I said, hey guys, don't be surprised. We could see a bounce way up into this 105, 106 range. Sure as shit, we bumped up against 105, okay, just shy, rolled over, and now we're running right up again into this resistance. We're right in this resistance. Now, at this point, the question we should be asking ourselves is, do we think it's realistic that there could be much more upside potential in the dollar index? And that wouldn't be historically favorable for equity markets and for crypto. I think the DXY is going to have a lot of headway to try to get especially above 108. At this point, I think it is quite possible that you could see some sort of wick come up into this area, into the 108 range, and we exceed where I ultimately thought the DXY would top out at in the 105, 106 area. But I still believe we're going to roll over. There's really only one chart. There's one chart, and it is an important chart to keep an eye on here. There's one chart, or excuse me, there's one time frame that does leave me a little concerned on the DXY. It's the monthly. Now, it's going to be very important, and this is something we're going to keep a close eye on and evaluate next week once we see the DXY close on the monthly. The only thing that would give me pause that I could be incorrect in terms of how high the DXY would be achieving before rolling over, and it could spell further downside potentially for equity markets and for crypto, would be getting this MACD cross. If we actually study the history of these MACD crosses on the monthly, maybe that's something we can take a look at next week if we do in fact get it. There is significant upside that the charts tell us is most likely. Again, because it's all about probabilities, right? All I'm literally doing is I'm going left, right? I'm just going left here and looking at the price data and saying, okay, well, when we have had a MACD cross on the monthly time frame in the past, how many times has it, resulted in a moderate price increase, a significant price increase, a nothing burger, and we've rolled over? And so there is a significant probability that could result in some decent upside. So that's something we'll take a closer look at. It's the only time frame view of the DXY that leaves me feeling concerned. But still, at this point, if my hypothesis is correct, and I tweeted this out early, if we are to top in this 105 to 106 range, as I originally have shared with you guys, we should be topping out very soon. We should be topping out very soon. Now, topping out very soon could still be a couple candlesticks in here wicking up in this range, but eventually just rolling over, okay? I would suspect one more time, if the DXY truly is in that zone where I've communicated to you in months prior that we would top, this thing is going to show that it's topping very shortly over the next handful of couple weeks. This isn't something where it should bleed all the way into December. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking in these next couple weeks, it should be very evident that the DXY has in fact topped. Now, when you couple this with the fact, let's go back to my tweet. We wanted to talk about market sentiment. When you couple this with the idea that, or the fact that what we're hearing more and more in the news media are just nothing but bearish. I'm not hearing anything or seeing anything. You got to take yourself out of Twitter, okay? This community, this crypto community on Twitter is such a small community, okay? So if you remove the handful of individuals that are bullish, that are still bullish, I would put myself in that camp. I'm still extremely bullish from a macro perspective. I've highlighted that in the short to intermediate term, those weekly charts haven't cleared up on Bitcoin. So I still think there could be, there is still a strong potential for some sharp volatility and a V-shaped recovery, in my opinion, for that macro view to ultimately pan out. That's still a possibility. But I am very much a bull in the macro perspective, and from the standpoint that, no, I don't see us having this large market correction. But what you're seeing, nothing but relentless conversation regarding a monumental recession, and what people are implying by that is a monumental downturn in the stock market. This is all you're hearing. Now, if we go back through the history of time, the question you should begin to ask yourself is, how many times in the past, okay? How many times in the past, and let's use Bitcoin as a proxy for this. I really wanted to look at a major indice. But how many times in the past, let's look at the Dow Jones actually. It will be better represented if we actually look at a major indice here. Let's look at the S&P. Let's look at the Dow. I'm indecisive today. I think I need to get some extra sleep tonight. I was feeling good all day, and then like right prior to the live stream, I just started feeling kind of a little bit out of it. So let me ask you this question, okay? The question you should ask yourself is, when we were riding like this up here, was most of the market sentiment, okay, when I say market sentiment, I mean herd mentality, what you're hearing on major news outlets, what you're reading and listening to. Was the major news narrative bullish or bearish? You better believe it was bullish, okay? When we were riding up here, was the major news bullish or bearish? It was very bullish, okay? When we were riding up here, was it very bullish or bearish? Bullish, okay? Prior to the dot-com bubble, same thing. I would have been too young, or this was the housing crisis and the dot-com bubble. I wasn't as close to the market, so I can't speak to this. But the point of what I'm trying to make here is, and we have to learn from history, guys. If we're going to be part of that herd mentality, what we're doing is we're not taking the opportunity to step back and learn something from prior experiences, right? It works quite often time, unfortunately, in life as well. But you really need to take a step back and ask yourself, be honest with yourself. Okay, be honest and have an honest conversation with yourself. When market sentiment was this bad, is what preceded this most often the harshest of drops in the stock market that we've ever seen, okay? Or those harsh drops in the stock market, did they occur at a time when most people weren't calling for it, right? Don't forget, during this time period, okay? During this time period here, massive recession, stock market is going to shit in 2023. We had the greatest rally in these major indices that we've seen, historic rally, okay? Last thing I would lead you with, if you're really fearful of your investments, don't forget that next year, I keep repeating this, and I'll keep repeating the same things because I personally, as much as I'm not offering ever financial advice on this channel, I have some things I have very strong viewpoints on, and especially if I'm educated on something and I feel very sure of it, I'm going to stand behind it. I'm going to stand behind it 100% unless if something materially changes, okay? And I think in life, that's the way you need to be in general. You need to come up with a conclusion, a hypothesis, and stand behind it and defend it. And unless if something concretely changes that materially impacts your view on something, you stand behind it. Next year is an election year. Okay, next year is an election year. Do you really think that the current administration is going to allow the stock market to implode during an election year? Okay, they're going to do what they need to do to allow things to continue onward, right? We're going to kick that can down the road. So do I see a massive correction starting in the year 2024 ultimately? Yes, we'll revisit timing. Maybe I'm incorrect. Maybe it starts in 2025. But yes, there will be a huge correction, in my opinion. Could start as early as 24 or as late as 25. But regardless, I don't see some massive correction coming in the stock market at this point. Again, DXY is just it's right in this topping zone. There are way too many people who are pessimistic about the stock market, way too many people who have gotten extremely complacent and don't think that cryptocurrencies can do what they've done in the past until we do it again. And hear me out here. If you happen to be on this channel years from now, we're going to go through all of this again, right? It's the year 2028, 2027, whatever it is. People will be saying that crypto was a fad, the technology was a fad. Those assets can't rise like they did in 2024 and 2023 and 2020. That was a different era. No way it could do it again. We're going to be having the same conversations. I was here for these conversations in 2018. I was here for these conversations in 2019, 2020, 2021, 22, and here we are in 23, right? Been here, been invested since 18, been researching on cryptocurrency since 2017. It's the same old, guys. Same old BS. Let's see. DJ, my opinion differs. I think the DXY is going up because it's all in the charts, and the news will follow the charts. And if I am correct in terms of the DXY topping in the next, it'll be very evident in the next couple weeks. There'll be some news catalyst event that drives that, but at the end of the day, it's in the charts here. We're overextended. We're due for some sort of pullback. Again, could I be incorrect? I'm always open to being incorrect. Could I be incorrect? Could we pull back to here and create support and then just continue going up? Of course, I could be dead wrong. I just don't think that I am. So you have the power to turn the DXY. Yeah. DT, the crypto gods failed me in 2021. That expanded flat correction really threw me for a loop. So they're not listening to me at the moment, but when things awaken, I will be in true crypto bull god form. If you haven't seen me in true crypto bull god form, please feel free to go to Twitter and look at the video that I shared on cup and handles. This is crypto bull god in true crypto bull god form. I will be there, DT. The crypto gods are not listening at the moment. Love the first of the month. That's when rents start rolling in. Yeah, nice. Mike is asking if I'm doing another Digibyte update. Well, I'm always looking to do a Digibyte update when there's something material to report. I don't want to just put out a video for the sake of putting out a video. With that being said, there are some things developing that I have shared a little bit on the Digibyte monthly chart. I want to see, it's interesting you asked that. I want to see how the Digibyte monthly candlestick closes for the month of September. Depending on that monthly close, I may be putting out a video as early as next week or as late as the following week. But yes, there may be some things to share on Digibyte. I don't want to put out a video until there's something material, which there could be based on the monthly close. So more to come there, Mike. Thanks for asking the question. Hey, what's up, Jorge? Good to see you here. I mean, of course I can give a shout out Of course, I can give a shout out to your dad's birthday. Happy birthday. I'm not going to call it. Well, his first name is Elver. Happy birthday, Elver. I'm just going to call you Jorge's father. Happy birthday. You got a hard-working, smart son over here. Dude's going to nursing school and working his ass off. So you should be very proud of him. I'm sure you are. And just continue to support the man because he's working very hard. But happy birthday to you. Dave Ramsey hates Bitcoin. Bitcoin hates Dave Ramsey, so who the hell cares? All right. Dave Ramsey. God, who listens to Dave Ramsey? Come on. I'm sorry, but no one listens to Dave Ramsey. Okay, Bitcoin price cycle. Yeah, I wanted to touch on that real quick. Now, as far as updates, we didn't even get into immediate price action on Bitcoin. All right, I'm trying to see if you're trying to play one on me, Jorge. This is like the Simpsons episode where Bart calls and he calls with a fake name, and then he says the name, and it's something funny. I forget what one of the names he came up with is. All right, happy birthday, Elver Galarga. And if that was a joke on your end, and I'm saying something that is funny that only you know about, hey, but I am showing some respect. Happy birthday, Elver Galarga. I do hope you have a nice day today. All right, so taking a look at immediate price action today, you can see that nothing has. I just want to focus on the daily. Nothing has changed. I don't like to see. Let's fucking go, oof. Welcome in. I don't like to see. Yeah, I figured Jorge was doing that. You know what, Jorge? I'm just going to ignore you now. You're an ass. All right. See, I try to be a nice guy. And you take me for somebody who is, well, clearly I am. I'm easy to run one by, but gullible. That was the word I was looking for. I'm quite gullible. I'm just too nice of a person, right? That I am sometimes. MACD. I don't like to see this MACD crossing down on the daily. And now, Jorge, I will never take you serious again. So just, you keep that in mind, my friend. You keep that in mind. I don't like to see the cross down in the MACD, but there's really nothing new to report here, guys. We have this descending resistance. We can't get above it. We can't get above the 50. So again, anyone who's telling you, looking at this chart, oh, there's nothing to be concerned about, this isn't a big deal. This is a big deal. I'm not saying that the chart can't clear itself up, but I'm just factually reading the information, and as bullish as I am macro, this more granular look at a chart, there's nothing bullish about this. Now, I could see a potential inverse head and shoulders here, actually. The more I look at this. I was kind of looking at this the other day. Yeah, there's a potential inverse head and shoulders. Here, and here. Potential. But still, regardless, this thing is in a clear downtrend. And in order to clear up, you know what this thing needs to do. We need to push above the 200 simple at around 20. This is around 28,000. It's great to see on the daily that the 200 is still curling up. Now, that's because, again, this 200 simple moving average, even though we're under the 200 simple moving average, this plot point and this plot point and this plot point and this plot point, it's based on 200 days of price action, most of which was all the way up here. That's why you're not seeing an immediate cross down on that 200 simple moving average. But the more we stay under here, the more bearish it is. We have to push above it. That's all I'd say about that chart. There's not too much else to spell. Wanted to quick take a look at the pi cycle. And I wanted to give you a realistic look. Okay, now the pi cycle, we've touched on this chart before. It's something I'm going to be keeping a much closer eye on going into next year. There is a video out there also, and I think I shared on this channel. The thing that actually spurred that video was my community, because someone asked about the Pi cycle, and I thought to myself, shit, I haven't looked at the Pi cycle forever. That would be an awesome video to put out there for my community. Anytime you get the fast moving, I think it's called the fast action or fast, what is it called? The fast period. Anytime you get the fast period moving average crossing above the slow period moving average, which is the orange above the blue, it has signaled the approximate top of Bitcoin, and there's a video all about it. So what I've done here, is in order to see Bitcoin top still within the time frame I've communicated, I've sketched out here what we'd need to see on this chart. So I'm actually going to save this chart. There's two things I wanted to communicate on this chart. One, in order for Bitcoin to top at latest by, I have this as July. I really wanted to signal this for June, but close enough, the 16th of July. We need to have these moving averages look somewhat like this. They're not going to look exactly like this. This may not go as high. You have to take this with a grain of salt. This could, we could end up crossing much lower down here below 100,000. But still, the point is, if we were to top around July, you could expect some sort of action on the Pi cycle chart to look like this. And when you zoom out, it certainly does look extremely reasonable. Now, the other thing that I wanted to denote on this chart, and something that I'm going to be keeping a close eye on as well, not only when the fast period orange crosses above or touches the slow period blue moving average, has it indicated a market cycle top, but what else do you notice going on in this chart? Well, when we topped here, we were approximately 180% above the slow period moving average. When we topped here, okay, 180%, right? We were only like 40% above. So roughly, just quick math, roughly a quarter. This 40% represents roughly 1/4 of this price increase above the moving average. 180% as compared to 40%, okay? So if we come here and we hypothesize that they cross, let's just say the moving averages cross somewhere. Let's say the moving averages cross somewhere near 120,000, and we assume that price only tops around 20% above there. That actually pushes us up towards 150. That's getting towards a higher area of price for Bitcoin that I don't know that it's going to hit. I'm more in the, I'll have to reevaluate my topping zone, but I'm more in the 120, 130 area that I think we could hit. But this would signal 150, right? But take it with a grain of salt. Again, maybe we only go 5% higher. That puts us at 130, which is more in line with my expectations. Maybe the lines cross sooner and lower, okay? This happens in April. Okay, all of a sudden you have a cross at 110,000. You only go 5% above it, you're at 110,000. So you got to take this with a grain of salt. But I'm just trying to give some level of a visual depiction in terms of what to anticipate on the Bitcoin cycle chart from two things to keep in mind. One, from a timing perspective, and secondly, from a rate of appreciation perspective above the slow period moving average, right? We should continue to see diminished returns over time. And guys, something else to keep in mind. BBC. Mr. Oliver Garlaga. You're an ass. You're funny, but you're an ass. Something else to keep in mind, at some point, this Pi cycle is not going to work for us, right? Do you really think, just kind of high level, thinking about this intuitively, do you really think until the end of time, till the year 2050, Bitcoin's going to continue topping with this Pi cycle? No, it's working for now. For now, we have a small amount of data points to work with, right? There's only a few data points we can use for this Pi cycle to say that, hey, this is a thing that works to tell us when it tops. But again, Bitcoin hasn't been around for a while. It doesn't have a lot of historical data. We try to find as many different charts that we can, data sources. I'll call them data sources at the end of the day. This is the language I use at work. How many data sources can I find, and then what's the sample size? No matter what data source we use, whether it's a Pi cycle chart, a weekly chart, a monthly chart, a 12-hour chart that I've used that no one else speaks to, the sample size is low, right? At some point, these things aren't going to work the more mature the asset gets. Another thing to illustrate this. For the Caspa community, you guys have seen my Caspa videos. I spoke to something on the 2-day chart, right? I spoke to something on the 2-day chart. Guys, the data is so immature on that Caspa chart. 2-day chart isn't going to mean anything. The 2-day chart is not going to be as significant an item 10 years from now, 5 years from now, 3 years from now even. Well, 3 years maybe still. 5 years from now, 7 years from now, okay? Same thing. DJ Neutronic. I can't believe you didn't notice this before. Oh my God. We got Harmony 1, Decentraland Mana, Hedera H bar, and the holy. Guys. You can see my short shorts. This is the holy crypto trinity. Come on, guys. The holy crypto trinity. I'm surprised you didn't notice that before. I am not going to disclose how much Harmony 1 I have, but I will say I have a fat bag myself too. So, you see me. I can see myself in replay pulling down my short shorts. That's great. Who wears short shorts? Hey, man. You work out. Well, one, my tastes have changed over time in terms of clothing, but two, hell, you work out the legs, The ladies like the legs. Hey, guys, obviously guys like nice legs on a lady, but speaking from experience, women like nice legs on a man too. I'll let you kind of run your imagination on that. 100% of the population here is men, or at least 99%, so there really aren't any women listening, but I'm sure many ladies could vouch for CBG. What else did I want to talk about? And then I'm going to get to the comments here. I wanted to quick talk about the Holy Crypto Trinity. Speaking of which, I want to talk about Harmony 1, Decentraland, Mana, and H-Bar. I want to give you guys a little perspective if you're not following me on Twitter. First off, I'm not saying that we're going to do this exact thing here over here. But the last time we had this much significant bullish divergence, you can actually see some bullish divergence here too. I'm surprised I didn't sketch this out. That's hilarious that I actually missed this. You can see we had bullish divergence as well. Can't believe I missed that. This is a 3-day chart. Bullish divergence here, okay, reflected in the chart here, massive breakout. Bullish divergence here led to a massive breakout. Bullish divergence here will lead to a massive breakout. We will have to find out, but the point is, this is the largest amount of bullish divergence we have seen on this chart, debatably, since late 2020. The other perspective to keep on this, as much as I would agree with all the Harmonauts, you know what? I would have liked to have seen a stronger bounce in Harmony. I would have liked to have seen it retain a higher market cap ranking. We know some of the struggles they've had with the hack of their bridge. But regardless, the perspective I'm trying to give here is we are resting on top of this support at basically 0.9 cents, okay? At this time period, before we went on our parabolic run, we're sitting here at like half the price or less, right? Consolidating around. So we're still, as much as we've corrected, and believe me, I am right there with you. This was extremely painful to watch my portfolio go down that much, okay? But the other perspective, if you've been in this asset for a while, we're still 2 to 3 times higher in price than we were back here. Let's go to H-Bar. Similar sort of concept. We're resting on this support that we ultimately broke out of back in January of 21. So we're sitting on top of a level that took a breakout in January 21. We're sitting all the way down here. Again, about 2/3 the price that we're sitting here. All right? Perspective. And lastly, Decentraland Mana. Here we are sitting above 25 cents. Guys, last time we were at 25 cents was back in February of 2021. Okay? So, I mean, this was a better way to put that is before we started to have our massive breakout, we were sitting at like 7 to 8 cents. We were sitting at 7 to 8 cents before we went on this parabolic journey. And now we're sitting at 30 cents, okay? 4 times higher, 4 to 5 times higher. So again, it's perspective. I know the correction has been brutal, but also depending on the time frame of your investment, perspective. Hey, welcome in, Evan. Good to see you here. No, wait, hold on. I missed some comments here. I am... Oh, DJ, what I will say is, now I am open to getting into more fundamental videos. I've kind of alluded to that. So, I had wanted to put a video out on how banks and institutions and the Federal Reserve is lying to you. I don't know if anyone remembers that thumbnail, but still haven't made that video. So certainly a good thought. I will say that the debt levels that the United States has, I would encourage everyone here to listen to Raoul Paul if you're not today from Real Vision. Really great thoughts there. One of the biggest reasons that the Federal Reserve knows that the interest rates can't be sustained at the levels that they're at is they're not going to be able to service the interest that they're paying on their debt. And the debt continues to grow and grow and grow. There is no debt ceiling. You could get me started on this forever. There is no debt ceiling. The government can continue to ramp up levels of debt until the end of time. They're never going to be able to pay that off. So it's just, people 10 years ago were saying the same thing, and look at where we're at now. Debt levels have just gotten way out of hand, in particular since the housing crisis, great financial crisis. You want to name your kid Sean, but I don't think it sounds manly enough. You know what? Funk off. All I can think about is Shawn Michaels. I do the pose Shawn Michaels much better. I do the Shawn Michaels pose much better. Name him Sue. DJ, I was about to ask you if you're dipping tonight. No, you're not dipping. You got anything on the menu there for happy hour this evening? Have you been hitting a beer, a whiskey, or anything like that? Just curious if you're hitting a happy hour in your office there. Shaun the Sheep. I do not know that cartoon. Yeah, I agree with you, DJ. For any of my altcoins from current price levels, I will say this. For any of the altcoins that I'm holding, if I'm not getting a minimum 10x, I completely agree with you. That to me would be a failure. Something is wrong with my clicker. That would be... I have to change the battery. That would be a complete failure to me. I am actually a curious conversation for you guys. How many of you, drop a comment if you're willing to share, and don't share numbers. This is a yes or no question if you've done this. Have you evaluated your investment portfolio and run different scenarios? You've essentially done some scenario testing, and the scenario testing is to hypothesize high, low, and mid-range projections for where you believe that your crypto assets will materialize to and top out at, right? You have a high scenario, a low scenario, and then you have all these mid-range scenarios, right? Has anybody here done that? I have. I've done scenario testing on my portfolio, and I've run about 10 scenarios. I've come up with about 10 scenarios for my portfolio at the moment. Now, based on those 10 scenarios, what it has done is it has gotten me very comfortable with where I realistically think I'll ultimately land within, 5 to 10%. I'd say 10%. There's going to be a decent margin in there. But I think it's gotten me comfortable of where I should be able to land within 10%. So I'm curious, whoever's done that. You work for one of the top 5 credit unions, support online banking and mobile app. Interesting. Jorge, I can chart BBC. I could chart that for you. Of course I can chart one of those for you. Give me a moment here. You know what? Being a role model for your children is critical, and it comes at the forefront of everything you do, so much respect there on your comment. 9, and now it's at... Oh, no. Wait. All right, let's get into a TA question here. It's a little hot in my apartment right now. If this was an all-female audience, I would take my shirt off, but I got dudes here, so that shit is not cool. So shirt is not coming off, no concerns, but it is a little warm in here. I got to turn the AC up. See, the thing with the office is, I have a thermostat in here. You want to know what the temperature in my office is? Jesus. How in the hell? Thermostat in my office says it's 83 degrees. I don't know how the hell it's 83 degrees in here, but clearly the ventilation in here is not good. Man, I've been doing no alcohol all month, DJ. No alcohol all month. I don't miss it, man. You don't need it. Once in a while, have yourself a drink, but you don't need it. Actually, in my opinion, not a parent, but I think one of the things you can do, one of the best things you can do, I used to have this conversation with someone. I think one of the best things you could do to demonstrate to your children that you are responsible, you sit down for dinner, you have a glass of wine. Hey, look, mom and dad can sit down and they can responsibly drink. They have a glass of wine. Dad has a beer every now and then, but he doesn't overdo it. I don't see dad drinking 10 beers. I don't see mom and dad drinking every night. I don't see them downing an entire bottle of wine, but they seem to responsibly drink. Again, I'm not a parent. To each their own. To each their own. This is not me trying to say how to parent. Clearly, I'm not a parent. But to me, it intuitively makes sense because you're instilling in that child that you can responsibly drink when you're of age. So, just a thought. Now, psychologists could tell me I'm way off here, but this is non-psychology, just CBG, yeah. TRB, what the fuck happened here? TRB. By the way, Jorge, are you messing with me again? You did not buy it at 120. You're being a dick, right? Did you really buy this thing at 120 and sold it 9? You've got to be kidding me. I hope you're joking. And either way, in any event, I think it's an interesting chart, a stock to chart here, or a crypto to chart. I do not know what TRB is. This is on the weekly. But there is a decent amount of price data here that we can begin to chart what's going on. So let's get into it. I don't know why, but the Inspector Gadget song just went off in my head. Does that happen to you guys? Like sometimes a song just randomly plays in your head. Do 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 Inspector Gadget. You know that song? This is a green level of support here at about $8.45. I like that zone right there, but this technically is the wick. So really, these are your zones of support here, about 646 and 845. Now, the one thing I do like to see, you can see the low here in 22 wasn't revisited. We have a higher low, so that's really good to see. The other thing that's coming in, Jorge, is we got higher highs coming in, right? So we got the higher highs, we got the higher lows, all right? Very, very good to see. Basic premise for a bullish turnaround here. So I got the areas of support. The other thing I'd like to point out to you before we get into the red areas of resistance, I might draw it like this, even though a different time frame. It's not, the chartist in me can't draw it how I want to draw it, but nah, we'll keep it like that. So there is this, what I'm trying to display here is there is this downward area of resistance that has been broken, okay? Clearly broken, right? You can see the higher high coming in, but we've invalidated this descending resistance. Let's get that off, though. Now what I want to do is I want to start to begin to evaluate some prior areas of resistance where price could pull back to, because this thing looks like it's overextended. Now, could we continue higher? Of course we could continue higher, but the odds are in the favor of pulling back, and probably price indicators will tell us that as well. So right there at about $44.85, okay, 45 bucks. Another area, these sandals are comfortable. There we go. Another resistance, prior resistance there at about 28.45. I like this one. This one's at about 16.40, and then I'll give you one more. My brain is not functioning today because I clearly have drawn these as red as resistance, but we're above everything. These were prior resistance. So these are the prior areas of resistance. We'll have to see how these act as support, okay? Now what I need to do, I have a lot of areas of support here, so hopefully you appreciate that. Now what's interesting is we don't have a whole hell of a lot higher to go until we actually get to all-time highs. And no, it doesn't look that way. We're about 50% there. Resistance right here at like 166. We got resistance right around there at like 70, 74 bucks. And then one more. Great. Yeah, right there. I'll be a little conservative. So these are the three main areas of resistance. Of course, keep in mind there's also going to be this psychological $100 level. You can see we got to battle through 74, 93, 100, and 166 all-time high. Now, how about the price indicators? Are we overextended? Yes. This thing's going to pull back most likely. Again, RSI is up at 90. Okay? You're not going to see many weekly RSIs up in the 90 range and not see a pullback. So what we could do, we got a really steep pullback there. What we could do, we could also evaluate a fib retracement, see how deep. You know, it is possible we could pull back as deep as in this area here, the 0.786 and 0.618 fib extension retracement if we finish topping here. Kind of lines up with this area, but actually goes lower. So what I would do is give you one more area of, I don't know what the market cap is on this, but that's also going to weigh in on it. If this is a smaller market cap, which it most likely is, I don't know. Is this a smaller market cap? Because this is having a decent move here. I don't know that this is a smaller market cap. Let's take a look at this. Is this like top 100 and I just don't know about it, like in the 150, 200 range? It is, isn't it? Let me see. Where are we at? How am I not seeing this? Where's this at? 441. Okay, so this is pretty low, actually. Yeah, especially with the market cap ranking that low at 441, what I would anticipate is if we're done topping, now we could continue higher. There's no reason we couldn't top out towards the $9,300 range. But either way, what I would anticipate is some sort of a sell-off here. I would be conservative and wait for at least like 20 bucks. I'd wait for a pretty deep retracement here for at least $20 before I would ever consider taking a bite. At which point, you know, once you start coming down into these areas, typically you'll see like a heavy sell-off, okay? At which point you can get a really big bounce. If I was a trader, I would sell into that, expecting a lower high and expecting at least expecting a higher low, okay, or a retest for a double bottom or going lower. That's what, before we continue going up, that's the general premise of what I would anticipate in something like this. Hope you found that helpful. Well, I charted TRB. I thought your question was TRB. You said 2 in there. I'm not really sure how I lost track of that, but yeah, can you chart TRB or ETN? So I'm not sure what you mean, Jorge. All right, we'll do one more charting question, and then I think we're going to sign off. Oof, did I miss your question? Are you asking to chart alluvium? We can take a look at that. I haven't done scenario testing because if Bitcoin pumps it to 100,000 plus, the moon will be absolutely magnificent for alts. 30x minimums, in my opinion. You know, real quick, just food for thought on this whole $100,000 Bitcoin thing. It does get me nervous because you have to understand the charts, implicitly baked within these charts is human psychology. So if everyone is anticipating $100,000, it almost makes me feel like it's not going to happen. Like we're going to fall short and Bitcoin's going to top at 90 or 93 or something like that. Or we're going to well overextend past 100. With all this psychology talk, with all this talk about $100,000 Bitcoin, I don't see a scenario where Bitcoin tops at 105 or maybe even 110. I would think we blow well past it towards 130. Maybe we do hit some of the higher targets for me, like 150, but it just makes me a little bit nervous when everyone is talking about 100,000. Yeah, 180 would definitely exceed my expectations. Let me get into alluvium. I don't know that you're asking me to chart it. Don't know that you're asking me to chart it, oof, but we'll take a look at it. Interesting. Now, what's the market cap ranking on this guy? I've heard of the project. I'm just not very familiar. 131. Okay. Bit my tongue or something. Ooh, well, let's point out the very first thing that's obvious here. Praise be to Jesus. You better start praying to Jesus this doesn't go below 39 bucks, $38. Because if we go below 38, what's happening is we're going to be in white space. And you know, I don't like white space on the bottom because if we break this line, we could just come down maybe 5%, or we could bleed out and just continue going lower. So don't want to break 38. That's the main area of support we're going to focus on there. I could create a band of support for you, but I don't think it's worth it. 38 bucks. Now, on the one hand, you know, you look at this and you say, well, there was this general downtrend that was broken, right? But you could still chart something like this, all right? So we're still in this downtrend that we need to break. And the only way that you're going to break this on alluvium, you got to take out this lower high followed by this lower. Damn it. You got to take out that lower high. Sorry, I'm having difficulties. There's something on my mouse here. What the fuck? You got to take out this lower high followed by this lower high followed by this lower high. Watching myself in replay. It's so dark in here. I was going to put on a light, but oh well. We're at the end of the live stream. So you got to start taking out these lower highs, right? Now, the question is, where are we going to run into struggles for areas of resistance, right? Where's their price confluence that as we continue to bounce up, that we're going to have a difficult time breaking above? Very natural question. So First area, I don't want to get too cute with the numbers. 5350, okay. There's an area right there, 5350. I also like to see that there's, not that I like to see, but I also see there's an area right around there at 44. So these are your first two main levels around 44, 53, 54 bucks. Next area, kind of like that right there, 57 bucks. And that's going to take a lot of work. I'll just do one more. I mean, it's going to take a lot of work to get above there. Right around there, 62. So you see we have a decent amount of resistance here. This is on the weekly. Technicals need to turn around here. We go to a 3-day. We got a... Nah, nothing really crazy going on. So, yeah, we're just in a general downtrend. Now, what I don't like to see is I really would have liked to have seen back here in August. It would have been more bullish if we would have pushed above this lower high here at 57.50. If we could have managed to rise up in price maybe to like 80 bucks and then come down here and form a higher low relative to here. But we've essentially double bottomed here. We've double bottomed here, okay? So, yeah, that's what I see in the chart. Really, this isn't a very exciting chart to me. Nothing super exciting. All right, guys, I'm going to tune out here. 125. Oof thinks 125 for a blow off top. I think that's very reasonable in my opinion based on some of the numbers I've shared with you guys. I also appreciate your comment on token supply. I had wanted to also produce a video discussing some of the tokenomics with inflation on supply, because I think some people did make some accurate assessments on Hedera HBAR. I'm still a supporter of the project, and I love the project and I love the technology, but it is a very true assessment to say that given some of the inflation rate in the supply, it certainly does have an impact on the price, and it's something that I didn't consider enough back in 2021. So definitely something to keep in mind, and I think is a great point by Oof. All right, guys, I'm going to let you go, but I will be back tomorrow on Thursday. Can't believe it's already going to be Thursday tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in. And as always, let's all spread awareness and let's carry the education forward. Take care and have a good evening, morning, afternoon, or night, or wherever you are.